where we live, criminal history, and a lot of other things. That data, if somebody, the wrong person gets a hold of that data, then in fact we are all harmed. I know just from a point of interest, Robert Mockney, who is obviously high up in DHS, some time ago sketched a federal plan to extend biometric data, the photograph and digitized data. He proposed extending that to Asian and European governments and corporations so as to create a global identity management system. As well from Mr. Mockney, that said, we are starting the process of biometrifying a good proportion of the world population. And just with that in mind, it just seems like the whole thing is becoming very large and very global in its perspective.
Real ID is really a minimum set of standards that states are asked to follow, so that each state will at least adhere to minimum standards before they issue a driver's license or identification card to their various citizens.
Okay, and I have to jump in here because we don't want to.
Mr. Chairman, can I just conclude this right here? Can I just conclude this one point if I can? Then I'll go on. I just want to conclude this. Reason for asking the question, Mr. Chairman, and some of these is that I think a lot of the concern that we all share is that as we get into this from a state level, having to deal with it, from having to answer our constituents, and understand what's going on, there is a lot that seems to unfold itself as kind of revealing new revelation as it comes along, and there are aspects of it that are frankly troubling from the standpoint that we don't really know all that's there. And the reason, Mr. Chairman, if you just bear with me just one here, for the reason for asking that question is that I did see in some cross-referencing in the Federal Register, in the NPRM rules laid out in regard to Real ID, it says that DHS is proposing, which this stands, this is it, was not changed by the new regs, is proposing that digital photographs comply with current ICAO standards, which is an International Civil Aviation Organization, and that those standards include certain things. And then it footnote, and it says the footnote, the relevant ICAO standard is ICAO 9303, Part 1, Volume 2, specifically, and it goes on to say some things, information technology, biometric data interchange formats, and then it lays that out. That is the standard, international standard for biometric photograph and data collection. And that was my question for asking, because that is international. And my question earlier about whether or not a ID card being used to allow access to another country in fact becomes an international ID card.
But
Wait a minute, who are you?
Mark Lerner.
You're with who?
Stop Real ID Coalition.
Okay.
Is it not true, sir, in the final rules, AMBA is mentioned 150 times. Currently, almost all states belong to what is known as the DLC, including Pennsylvania, the Driver's License Compact. Is it not true now that AMBA is proposing that states join the DLA, the Driver's License Agreement? One of the major differences between the DLC and the DLA is the DLA has provisions in it that would allow Mexico and Canada to participate in the sharing of information.
Okay, for any AMBA-related questions about what they're soliciting for DLA memberships or DLC, you'll have to address that with AMBA. I cannot answer for AMBA.
What federal authority, what authority does the federal government have, though, to control what AMBA does? Does the federal government have any authority? No,
AMBA is a private organization, so no, I have no control over AMBA.
The Real ID Act, in fact, is being turned over to AMBA. AMBA is being called the backbone, and AMBA, like the ICAO, is in fact an international organization. It's not true, though.
Wait a minute.
With regard to the state of Pennsylvania.
You asked the question. He answered the question. We're going to have to move on.